The following podcast is brought to you by Pro Wrestling Connect, Australia's newest choice for event management and brand development specialising in pro wrestling.
And now, the B Plus Wrestling Podcast. Watch global. Support local. It's the B Plus Wrestling Podcast.
The moves.
B plus.
All right, ladies, gents, and non-binary friends, welcome to another B Plus podcast. Today is Wednesday. You know what that means. It's King of Sports Day, but we've already done that. We've looked at King of Sports. We've also had a call-in show today. You guys are getting spoilt today, man. Completely spoiled. This is the third episode we are releasing, and this one is looking at World Series Wrestling from this last weekend. I recorded 3 different chats with individuals who attended the 3 different nights. We have Lyle from On The Turnbuckle. Check out On The Turnbuckle, guys. He went to night 1 in Melbourne. Chris Things from the Grown Men Watch This Shit podcast. He went to both night 1 and 2 in Melbourne, so we talked to him about night 2 especially. And then, of course, our very own Big Boy Mikey was on hand in Sydney on night 3. So we talked to him about night 3, and then we wrapped the whole thing up. It's the entire weekend of World Series Wrestling action brought to you by the B Plus team and our friends. Thank you so much to Lyle from On The Turnbuckle and Chris Things from Grown Men Watch This Shit podcast for coming on and having a chat about the shows. It was really good to do. And without further ado, let's get to Lyle and let's talk about World Series Wrestling International Assault Zero Fear. All right, joining me now to discuss night 1 of World Series Wrestling International Assault Zero Fear. These things are a fucking mouthful, I swear. Adrian, fix the names of your shows. Lyle, how are you, buddy?
I'm very well, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, good. Can you say the whole thing? Can you say it like without stumbling?
Well, it's a bit easier now that you've said it. No, I can read it because I've got the result of it. Well, World Series Wrestling International Assault Tour Zero Fear, Melbourne Night 1.
Yeah. It's a mouthful, right?
It is a mouthful.
It's a mouthful.
It definitely is.
Like, we can do without the international assault. We get it at this point.
Yeah. Just call it Zero Fear Night 1, I guess.
Yeah, Zero Fear. So it's the Zero Fear Tour, Night 1. Zero Fear, of course. Pentagon gracing our shores. Is this the first time Pentagon's been out here? I feel like did he come out with BCW for the Lucha Down Undergrounds?
No. I think he was booked for, like, a New South Wales tour once or twice, and that fell through, I think.
Yeah. Well, I know Phoenix was booked with Wrestling Go, and that fell through. And that becomes the whole thing on night 3 of this tour. Apparently the Sydney crowd tried to, like, hijack the show and turn against Phoenix. So that's something interesting to talk to Mikey about.
Yeah, that's definitely no good.
But that didn't happen. That didn't happen in Melbourne.
No, it was a really hot crowd, which is sort of from the last couple of tours, night 1 being a Friday night, and it's such a tough venue to get to. You know, it's not normally sold out. So the crowd's a little bit... No, it's not as hot as night 2. You know, we are spoiled in Melbourne.
Yeah.
With all the wrestling we do have. But this was a super hot crowd for everything bar one match, which was disappointing because the match was still good. You know, they said it was a 300 people sellout, which, you know, there wasn't many seats spare.
That's good to hear.
They've done well on the Friday night, and that was the only time I could go, so no, it was definitely worth the trek.
Yeah, no, I hear that a lot, that, like, the venue's so far, and because, like, people work in town or whatever, or, well, in the city. I'm so used to saying town because of Adelaide. Melbourne is very much a city. Because people are working in the city, it's difficult to get out to the Southeastern Entertainment Centre. Yeah,
so it's, well, for me, I work in, you know, Port Melbourne. So on the Friday night, it's actually easier for me because I'm already halfway there.
Right.
If I was to go the Saturday night, it might take me nearly 2 hours to get there. So on the drive home on a Friday night, it takes me 2 hours to get home, which is fine. I don't mind it. But, yeah, and sometimes judging the Melbourne traffic on a Friday night. But this one was actually all right. It only took me 45 minutes from work. So, and yeah, it was worth it. definitely. It was a great show. It was all around. Every match was good to great.
Yeah,
so, which is
it definitely
really
looks
good.
that way. Looking at the card on paper, the show, surprisingly though, kicked off with Robbie Eagles and Joey Janela, the WSW World Championship match. Is there a reason why this one kicked off the show?
My initial thought, silly, because Robbie was coming back for night 2. I thought, maybe he has to fly out tonight for something. And then once I realised, obviously, he's not. He's staying in Melbourne for night 2. I just looked at my friend and I said, it looks like we're getting a tag title change in the main event. And they'll send the crowd home happy with a title change. Because World Series Wrestling do enjoy a good title change.
Yes, they do enjoy a title change, don't they?
Yeah, so I thought it was not a bad way to kick off the show. Robbie was super over. Obviously, Joey Janela was in front of that crowd. We didn't have the dark match like we normally would. So a couple of the guys got bumped to the main show because Rich Swan didn't make the flight, which was good for those guys. But Robbie Eagles versus Joey Janela, it was really fun. And if you're going to get Robbie Eagles in an opener against someone like Joey Janela, the night's going to set the stage for a really good night.
Yeah, well, I noticed that Robbie opens PWA shows a lot, and it's one of those things too. Like when it comes to WrestleMania, the opener is just as important as the closer, right? So Jericho being in the opener match of WrestleMania as much as he has been is kind of actually a good thing. Like it's one of those things that the opening match is just as important. So going out, but it's just the fact that it was a title match that sort of made me question. But then you're right. If the tag team titles are in the main event, theoretically you can say the tag team titles are just as important as the world title. So I get that.
Yeah, and it's fine. And because, I figured there would be a title change and that would really pop the crowd. We really wouldn't have thought Joey Janela was going to dethrone Robbie.
Yeah.
So, it was a really fun opener. The crowd was super hot for it,
Did you see the stuff online with Marty Scurll trying to convince Joey to join Villain Enterprises?
I seen little snippets of it. That's interesting. The Villain Enterprises, I like the story at the minute where they're going, and why not recruit the bad boy?
The whole looking for a fourth member has been really interesting. It's mostly playing out on social media, and then they have the Instagram posts and stuff where they were following Joey Janela around, just being like, oh, maybe Joey Janela would be a good fourth member. And they actually asked him, and he was like, you guys know I'm signed to AEW. And then Marty's just like, what the fuck is AEW? And I lost my shit. I popped so hard for that. But
it's good, those little winking and nods sort of things, like being the elite sort of stuff. But that's good stuff.
Yeah, definitely. But then we move on. The next match is the one that you're talking about, where some of these guys were supposed to be in sort of a pre-show dark match. I've never understood the idea of having a dark match on a show that's primarily just a live event anyway. But I guess they were supposed to be in the dark match, but then it got bumped up, which you touched on it. Rich Swann not being able to make the tour has sort of helped these guys out a little. But Sid Parker, Royce Chambers, Gabriel Eros. This is actually one of the matches I would have been most excited to see, to be honest with you.
Yeah, well, I know Welsh's been singing Royce's praises for months now. Yeah, every time you see him, he knocks it out of the park. He's a young up-and-comer, PCW wrestler. He's done a little bit of stuff outside. He's going to go up and train with Robbie, and he's got a Wrestling Go show booked soon as well.
Yeah, he came over here for Iron Fist, the second show, and now he's coming over for the first Sub-Zero Pro show. Yeah. And I saw him at Iron Fist, and I thought he was incredible. Yeah,
he's phenomenal. He's got a really good look. He's super athletic. Everything looks really good.
Yeah,
in
nice
the ring
kid too.
Really, really, really genuinely nice kid. There's a group of my other friends. They were sitting on the other side, and they only go to like MCW and these kind of shows, and they weren't sure who Royce Chambers was. And I said just before the show kicked off, I said, watch Royce Chambers. He's someone to watch. He'll be Australia's next big thing.
Yeah.
If you believe what Welsh's saying.
Yeah.
And he didn't disappoint. Him and Sid Parker in the ring together, going to take years off their career if they're going to be in the ring. They did some crazy stuff. I'm sure you've seen some of the videos. That shooting star press, off the ring apron onto Sid's head, basically.
Yes.
But Gabriel, he's got something. Like, when he's muzzing out with the music and stuff, it brought a little bit of that flavour of a different aspect of just a high spots match, if that's what you want to call it. But a little bit of comedy sprinkled in, and as soon as the comedy stuff, Sid loses his shit theoretically, and which is good.
Yeah. Eros is a character, man. Eros is a character. He definitely has the it factor. Like, you never have a bad time watching the Pariah in general.
Definitely not.
Eros had his one-on-one match with Joey Ryan last time they were here in Adelaide. And I was just like, oh, wow, like, just watching him work one-on-one was new to me. And it was definitely, he definitely has the it factor. So I'm happy to see him in this triple threat. But definitely, it looks like from the clips and stuff as well, it looks like Royce Chambers and Sid Parker kind of stole the show. Like you said, the shooting star spot on the apron, and also the 630, which missed. Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and
That
even
was
Sid,
painful.
like, he's been... Oh, yeah, that was brutal. But Sid's finisher, the moonsault into the double foot stomp, I think he's calling it the Raptor Claw.
The Raptor Claw. Yeah, such a good name.
Great. That is so nuts. But Gabriel, he came out and the crowd wasn't sure how to take him. Obviously, most of the crowd is a World Series wrestling crowd.
Yeah.
But as the match wore on, the crowd loved him. He danced a few times during the match, and his music kicked in mid-match when everyone was laid out.
Love that gimmick.
And obviously he broke his nose in the match, and there was blood everywhere.
Yeah.
Poor guy. Hopefully he's all right.
Yeah, get well soon, Gabriel Eros. Rip your nose.
Yeah.
But moving on, Jordan Grace makes her, I think, first defense of the World Series Wrestling Women's Championship. Or did she defend it once on the last tour? She might have defended it in Sydney.
Yeah, I think once on the last night.
Yeah, on the last night, because they crowned her on the second last night, because they did 2 in Sydney. Yeah, so second defense here over Kellyanne. Good match. I heard that the crowd was a little bit deflated for this match.
Yeah, that was what I touched on at the start. There was only one match where the crowd wasn't super invested, and it sort of sucks. And I hate to say maybe the crowd is not smart to women wrestling, or however you want to say it, because it was a great match in front of, if that was in front of an MCW crowd or, a PWA crowd, EPW, RCW, the crowd would have been really hot for it, because, it's Jordan Grace, and, Kellyanne's one of Australia's best female workers.
Yeah.
And, the crowd just didn't get into it. Whether it was coming off, the three-way, and actually there was a car crash.
Yeah.
If that had anything to do with it, hopefully that's what it was, and it wasn't just, here's a women's match.
I don't think it was, because I feel like this is a recurring thing with World Series Wrestling audiences.
Yeah, I know.
Because not just in Melbourne either. Like, I hear it from every Melbourne show, but here as well, they're just quieter for the women. And I don't know what it is about the World Series Wrestling card that maybe attracts people who aren't necessarily as invested in these women's careers, or don't know them, or what. But the women's matches, the crowd are always far less appreciative. I feel it's unusual. It's a really weird dynamic.
Yeah, and it sucks too, because they had their working shoes on. It was a great match, and you would have marked it even higher if the crowd was hot for it, which they should have been.
Yeah, I'll say this. So last time they were out, Jordan Grace won people over, because I was with a group of people who, all of them, every single person in this group that I was with, were not Jordan Grace fans. Like, actively dislike her. A couple of them are the type that will troll online and just be generally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I wasn't with them by choice, but I was with these people. I was situated with these people, and yeah, they won. Like, Jordan Grace won them over on that last tour. Right, they were like, seeing her work in person is completely different, and so it's hopefully that's happening. If you can win over 4 or 5 people in the crowd each time, then eventually we'll get to a point where they're getting their due. But it bums me out that World Series Wrestling crowds are not as into the women's matches. I don't know what the deal is. Yeah.
I think it like you said, it's probably just an educational process we have to go through, and hopefully they keep bringing out great women wrestlers for the local talent to work with, because I'm enjoying the wrestling matches. So
Yeah.
hopefully,
Well, I mean, it's Kellyanne. Like, how can you not? But yeah,
she's always a highlight on any card.
yeah. And then in Sydney, she worked I think Jessica Troy, right? So again, I mean, Kellyanne and Jessica Troy have at this point in time either my top or second match of the year candidate for Australian matches so far this year. Like, fantastic workers, and so yeah, hopefully the crowds catch on. Then we get the Lucha Brothers and the Phillip Brothers. Brothers versus brothers, I guess, is the way they've billed this one. How'd this one go?
This is my highlight of the night.
Did they wear their new capes? The Phillip Brothers?
Yes, they wore that. They look $1 million. They walk out, they look like stars. You know, some of the crowd, you could tell they didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
But they won them over. Like, they held off Stevie really well. I know Tome, he works so well as a team. They're so good. You know, and he was in the ring there with Phoenix at the start, and you could see, you know, he was playing into it, that he was in awe, like he couldn't keep up with this luchador. It was amazing. You know, he was just working his ass off, and then obviously, you know, you get Stevie in there, and you know, some of the crazy spots that they could come up with. You know, I think the Philippe's, they could have been given a little bit more offense to give him some more shine in front of that crowd.
Right.
But in saying that, that crowd was really there for the Lucha Brothers. So
yeah,
it highlighted the Lucha Brothers. Obviously, that's what the majority of the crowd wanted. It was amazing. You know, Stevie copped a stiff super kick to the jaw. So that was a bit unnerving, because, you know, a bit worried, you know, about his pretty face, and hopefully he didn't break his jaw. But from all reports, he was fine. But yeah, this blew everything else away on the night. Yeah,
match of the night.
Incredible. Yeah, definitely. You know, the Lucha Brothers, they're so innovative.
Yeah.
You know, I'd almost say if they can, you know, buy the DVD or rent it online. I don't know how they do it. I know investing in DVDs is pretty old school now.
Yeah, they do the DVDs. You can already pre-order them, but they also eventually the shows do go up on Impact Plus. Well, the shows were going on Impact Plus, which is previously Global Wrestling Network, but I'm not sure if the last two has been up yet. I cancelled my Impact Plus a while ago, so I haven't checked. Yeah, but that's where they go theoretically.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so seeing that match, hopefully it'd transfer well to tape. You know, if someone can get the DVD, go out and find it just for this match. It was amazing. And
well, the Lucha Brothers are arguably the best tag team in the world. So seeing the Phillip Brothers go 1-on-1 or 2-on-2 in just like a straight up tag team match, it's worth the price of the DVD in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, and a couple of my mates ended up buying Penta's mask, ring-worn masks for, you know, it was a few $100s.
Wow.
So, yeah, I was a bit jealous, but I thought better not take something.
If you're a collector, that's something. Like,
yeah,
for only a couple of $100, who knows how much that's worth one day? You know, that's a pretty good deal. Pretty good deal.
Yeah, signed and ring-worn, sweaty, and you know,
gross.
You know,
what's the protocol with that? Like, how do you store that? Because it's got his sweat in it, so if you like seal it off, like that'll grow mold and stuff. I guess, right? Like, I
guess you just air it out on a styrofoam head or something like that.
Styrofoam head. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what you'd want. You'd want that on your bookshelf, wouldn't you?
But then it weathers, right? It wear and tear. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how to store masks. I'm not a lucha guy.
I have no idea. I could just imagine coming home from work one day and my kids are running around wearing it or something. I couldn't. I couldn't think of anything.
You cannot have those kind of collectibles with kids around. That's just
no.
It's not going to work.
Yeah, they're trying to put it on the dog's head or something. You know.
Yeah, you know what collectible you can have though is the Slex Sunnies. Like those are for wearing, and he went on one-on-one with Jeff Cobb here. So is he alive? I mean, he made it to the next night. So
yeah, however you pitch a Jeff Cobb and a Slex match going, that's exactly what they delivered. It was a war. They beat the piss out of each other.
Yeah.
and it was so stiff. You know, Jeff Cobb is a beat. It's not like Slex is a small man.
No,
but,
not at all.
You know, he does, make him look small standing side by side.
Yo, Jeff Cobb's just a fucking monster, though, isn't he?
Oh, he's huge. His legs, 4 times the size of my legs. He's just a man mountain. He's so strong. He did a couple of little gimmicky things with Slex's glasses, which popped the crowd. The Slex was super over, obviously.
Yeah.
Coming off his recent tours with WSW, the crowd really enjoy him. So yeah, this was just the war, and they beat the shit out of each other. It was great.
Awesome. Jeff Cobb picking up the win, of course. And moving on, Indy Hartwell, Joey Ryan, intergender match.
This was just fun. Indy Hartwell.
That's the only word that ever gets used to describe Joey Ryan matches nowadays. This was fun. And I'm a little bit tired of the Joey Ryan, seeing him at every tour for World Series Wrestling, because it's the same. Yeah, it's the same stick, which is fair. And I don't, his stick doesn't offend me at all. But seeing the same stuff. But Indy just came out there and worked super straight against that. Yeah.
Oh, she was so good. She took none of that bullshit. It was really cleverly done. For her. She's only had a short career. She could have easily got overwhelmed and just lent into that comedy, but she just played it straight the whole time.
Yeah, which is what you want in a comedy match. You need... Jack Bonza, when I spoke to Jack Bonza about comedy wrestling and stuff, he was saying, the reason he's so good in comedy matches is because he is serious. Jack Bonza takes himself very seriously, and so does Indy Hartwell. I mean, she's impressive. So perfect straight woman for a Joey Ryan match.
Yeah, so... she got the big flip, and she ended up kicking out of the the super kick with the lollipop in her mouth.
Nice.
But she ended up doing another lollipop come out, and she ended up reversing it and doing her springboard.
The springboard drop kick with the lollipop.
Yeah. So
damn.
Put the lollipop in Joey Ryan's mouth. Springboard drop kick. She got the pin.
Yeah,
and
no
then
one's
she
kicking out of that.
Just angrily took the lollipop out of his mouth, looked at the crowd, and just threw it down on the ground. It was she just worked it really well. I super enjoyed it.
Yeah, she does anger well, does our Indy Hartwell.
Yeah, and just the little things that she does, during the, walking around the ring, and some smart ass in the crowd will yell something, and she's just so quick-witted, she just puts them back in their place.
She's so quick when she goes back and forth with the crowds, but as well, I've noticed lately she's picking her moments more. Like, she's not...
Of course.
Because when I saw her, the first time I saw her in Adelaide, it was like anytime anyone yelled anything out, she would take the chance to turn around and go back at them. But now she's starting to pick her spots more, which says to me that she's just even more confident in what she's doing in the ring. It's really good watching her grow.
Yeah, and she's doing it more, and it's not popping the crowd as much, where it used to pop the crowd because it'd be a little bit of comedy. Now it's more heelish, so it keeps her in the heel moment. It's really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then the main event, we touched on it before. We saw new tag team champions, because World Series Wrestling love to change the titles. The titles, I mean, they have decent length reigns, but that's because it's 3 months between tours. You never get more than 1 or 2 defenses out of a champion in World Series Wrestling.
No, definitely not.
I remember the second or third tour, the world title changed hands every single night.
Yeah, every single night.
Yeah.
Four times.
Yeah.
Now this was a good match. It was just it was fun. It wasn't blow away or anything like that.
Well, given that you saw the brothers versus brothers tag earlier in the night, I mean, no offense to, I love Brian Cage, Flip Gordon's pretty good, I love Marty Skrull, right? But no offense to these 4 guys, the Villain Enterprises and Flippin' Machines are not going to outdo Lucha Brothers versus Phillip Brothers.
No, definitely not. They just worked at a different style. You could see Brian Cage and Flip Gordon together. They're actually really entertaining.
Yeah.
As a tag team.
They have a chemistry, you can tell they're friends. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just having fun while out there working, and it comes across. So you sort of want to have fun with them. Marty Skrull worked, super heel. Like, he didn't lean into that stuff that normally gets him cheered.
Right.
So
and obviously, no yelling out chicken wing, none of that stuff.
He did that, but that was probably the extent of it.
Okay.
He wasn't. It wasn't the whoop whoop. He wasn't doing that kind of stuff to get the crowd on his side. Brody's just a beast. He chopped Flip unmercifully. Oh,
I saw him
bastard.
chopping fans.
Yeah. You get the I think the last tour that he was on, he was doing that as well at the end of the show.
Do people pay him for that?
Yeah, you pay. Get chopped by. Oh, I don't think he could pay me.
Yeah, I don't understand people. That's what are you doing? Why are you paying to get chopped by this man? That's insanity.
I don't know. You can take a video of it, and you take the handprint home with you on your chest.
Yeah, that's insane.
Good luck to you. Yeah, it is nuts. But
at the end of the day, though, new World Series Wrestling Tag Team Champions, flipping machines.
Yeah, so it was fun. Like after they'd won, they celebrated with the crowd, and you could tell Flip, he's going up the ramp, and Brian Cage is like, nah. So he dragged him back. They went through every side of the arena, through the crowd, and we're not going backstage. We're going straight to the merch stand. So Nice. It's just really indie right at the end. It was perfect. And Brian Cage, that's what he always does. He always works normally the intermission spot, and he just straight out of the ring, straight to the merch stand. So
yeah. Well, he loves coming out for World Series Wrestling too. Like he's a big fan of what they do. So they obviously take care of the talent and everything. So it's really good to see. But that was night one in Melbourne. What were the highlights, lowlights? What do you give it overall?
I give it just a great night out. It was the whole card was good to great. The low light was the crowd's reaction to the Jordan Grace and Kellyanne match. There was no bad matches on the show. It was just disappointing the crowd didn't react for how deserving those girls worked. And the highlight was the Lucha Brothers versus the Phillips. Definitely the highlight. And the three-way, Sid Parker, Royce, and Gabriel, all Aussies being in the ring together.
And the car crash that it was.
Yeah, it was just something different. And it was good for that crowd, because they're not there to see Aussie guys, really. So, yeah, they won them over.
Definitely. Now, I know you didn't attend night two, so I'm going to get someone else on in a second to talk about night two, but you did go to Eric Bischoff's 83 Weeks. So give us a quick 30-second review of Eric Bischoff's live podcast experience.
Yeah, it was fun. It was sort of different. It wasn't what we expected. It was more of a Q&A in the end. He told a couple of quick stories, a pretty risque story with Dennis Rodman and Carmen Electra that I probably couldn't repeat on air.
Yeah, no. Let's maybe not.
Yeah, it was different. He had a few interesting questions from questionable fans, but he steered the car crash away pretty well.
Drove it to safety.
Yeah, he's super entertaining anyway. You could listen to him talk a fair amount. So, and I got my Controversy Creates Cash book signed. So, nice. All in all, it was a good night.
So that's a collectible, I understand. A good autographed book.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's on my wrestling bookshelf.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thanks so much for coming on, man. Let people know where they can find you before I let you go.
On the Turnbuckle, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Our listeners know you at this point.
Yeah, we're pretty interactive. So we just like to have some fun. So hit us up and join in the fun.
Thanks a lot, man.
Nah, too easy.
All right, joining me now to discuss night 2 of World Series Wrestling International Assault Zero Fear. I got it right that time. I didn't stumble. It's still with the long-ass names. People have heard me talk about it already on this very episode. Chris Things from the Grown Men podcast. How are you, brother?
Woo, I'm good. Thanks for having me back, my friend.
Yeah, thanks for coming back. So you are still a grown man and you still watch this shit?
I indeed do. Yeah. We've had a little bit of a delay between our most recent shows due to interstate travel for wrestling shows such as the one that we're about to talk about.
Right.
But yeah, we should be back in the very near future. Looking to drop this coming Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. Yeah.
Awesome. And people can find that like if they just look up Grown Men, right? Or the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Is that that's you guys, right?
Yeah. Part of the Social Suplex Podcast Network. Also, if you just jump on the Twitter at Grown Men Pod, we post all the details on there, so it's the easiest way to catch it.
Yeah. Awesome. I need to up my social media game. Social media bums me out, man. I have such a love-hate relationship with it, I swear.
I can relate to that. I think it's more of a source of frustration than it is a positive in our day-to-day lives, but we do get some good stuff out of it, such as links to rad matches and things like that, so it's not all bad.
Yeah, it's not all bad. It's definitely not all bad. I enjoy yours because you put a lot of like art stuff up on your one. It's a nice break from the rest of the feed.
Thank you. Yeah. Add Chris things on the Instagram. I like to think I'm a little bit of a wrestling artist type of dude, so
yeah.
I have a bit of fun with that. Yeah, thanks for enjoying it.
Yeah, I do. I enjoy it a lot. So you're normally from Queensland, but you're down in Melbourne at the moment for New Japan this coming weekend, and of course World Series Wrestling, which we'll talk about now because that's what people are tuning in for.
It.
So let's stop catching up and start catching up on the wrestling. World Series Wrestling Night 2 overall. All right, how was it? Was it a good night?
Yeah, really fun. I think that's the main thing with these shows. It's always a fun time out. They reward you for making this bloody trek all the way up to Fern Tree Gully, which is like, if you're going to try to get to there on the train, I worked this out. It was going to be like an hour and 20-minute commute from the city. But thankfully, we got a car for it, so it wasn't so bad. But yeah, once you get there, great venue. They just pack it to the rafters. There were people hanging from the rafters, as we say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great, and it's a really fun crowd too. And I think the crowd is really what makes it. There's a lot of different crowd dynamics that you get in Australian wrestling. But I mean, while being maybe a little bit on the smarky side, the crowd at World Series Wrestling in Melbourne always bring the fun. So I always appreciate that.
For sure. Something we've heard, though, from a couple of other people who have been at the shows and what have you, was that the women's matches weren't necessarily as appreciated as they would be elsewhere. Did you get that vibe?
Like, for this weekend specifically?
Yeah.
It was funny. I was actually going to say I was personally quite disappointed in the women's matches. I thought the actual quality of the women's matches wasn't up to the standard of what I've seen previously. So I would probably be on the side that I guess the crowd didn't respond because it wasn't all that great.
Okay, fair enough. Because I mean, at least on night one, especially, I mean, Indy Hartwell's still, I mean, she's not long in wrestling, right? And she's getting better, and she's quite impressive.
You can tell she's quite green.
Yeah.
Impressive while green.
Yeah, but so it's sort of one of those things where like the Indy Hartwell one, like if you say Indy versus Jordan, like something was off and they didn't click or whatever, I can understand that. But the Kellyanne, that surprises me that Kellyanne can have a good match with just about anybody. I
didn't rate that match very much, and I think the standard that people grade some of the Australian women on is a bit skewed. So I mean, while being great for an Australian women's wrestler, like when you actually compare to the standard of overseas stuff, maybe there's a bit of a differential there. So I don't know.
Fair enough. Interesting take. I disagree personally. I'm a big fan. I think I feel like Australian women's wrestling is really hot at the moment. Like Jessica Troy and Kellyanne had one of my matches of the year so far in Australia with their match in Wrestling Go. Yeah. So I don't know. It's I guess I mean there's different tastes, of course. So that's fine. We can agree to disagree.
I mean, I'm personally more of a Joshi kind of guy. Like Sendai Girls is kind of like my jam when it comes to women's wrestling. Yes. So I guess if women aren't absolutely murdering one another, I probably won't be happy.
I'm a big fan of Stardom and Tokyo Joshi. I'm very excited to see Avery head over for the 5-Star Grand Prix.
Yeah, I was impressed by Avery last time I saw her, actually.
Yeah, so that's going to be amazing. But let's bring it back. Let's start at the beginning of night 2.
Indeed.
Battle of the Sunglasses. Slex and Joey Janela kicking things off. How was that one?
This was fun. This was everything you expect from a Joey Janela match. This was the first time I got to see Joey for the weekend because the prior night, the Facebook event said that the event was going to start at 8 p.m. So we got there at 8 p.m. only to realise we'd missed Robbie Eagles and Joey Janela.
Oh,
so I was very sad about that.
Yeah, that's bummy.
I love both of those guys. But nah, so this was still great to see Joey. I love GCW and everything that Joey Janela does.
Yeah.
So they got so much out of the little things, being able to get so much out of glasses and just getting the whole crowd chanting the Sunnies and shit like that. That takes some talent,
It
so
does.
I thought that was great.
It does. We don't deserve Joey Janela. I really believe that.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't get to see him staple a ciggy to his forehead or someone do that, but
in Sydney, did you see what he did in Sydney? Have you seen the social media stuff?
I saw the burial of Jim Cornette that they did. So
yeah, he stapled the picture of Jim Cornette. Oh, you're a corny guy, are you?
I do love me some Jim Cornette. Much opposed to my co-host on Grown Men Watch This Shit. Jeremy was actually blocked by Jim Cornette.
I remember this.
Enemies.
Yeah, because he's got a strong Twitter game. Does your mate, doesn't he?
Oh, he does indeed.
Yeah,
King of memes.
But no, Jim Cornette. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Jim Cornette. So
however,
I love
I was very enthused about the bit of that match that I saw as a tribute to a guy that I do very much love in Superhuman. You know much about Superhuman here?
Superhuman is amazing. Yes.
he's
this
a treasure.
Shit.
From
Whoop, whoop.
juggalos and juggalettes. Whoop, whoop.
I swear what he does is like a magical ritual because he does it every time and it's hypnotic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the pity breathing is my favourite part, to be honest. So
you know what though?
That last time.
He sells better than 90% of wrestlers.
Anyone else would just get up and no sell it. No, he knows that you have to sell it. Yeah. He knows his shit. Yeah.
I like the microwave one. Like he looks legitimately knocked out. It's pretty impressive.
Oh, I think you would be. You look like a painful microwave, my friend.
So what did Janela do? Because I know Janela's been talking to Superhuman. So what did Janela do here?
Yeah, well, they're building up a collaboration. So perhaps Joey's going to go around his house and they're going to do some sort of bump together. Or I'm hoping that because Joey and GCW have a backyard wrestling show coming up, so I'm hoping that they actually have Superhuman. How over would that be?
That would be so good.
Superhuman makes a special guest entrance. Oh.
I'm not gonna lie. Look, here's my thing, right? I'm the Aussie wrestling guy. That's my gimmick, right? And I've always been like, I don't want to interview anyone who's not like when we get opportunities to interview other people, I let Mr. Mysterious take it or whatever. But I slid into Superhuman's DMs, and I was like, I'll break the gimmick for that guy. I want to pick his brain.
You should.
Yeah, but anyway, so he did a tribute to Superhuman on this show.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's awesome. And then we move on though. Sorry, who picked up the win there? Was it Slex picked up the win?
Yeah. I was a little bit surprised, but not surprised, So yeah, that was good.
So Joey Janela, 0 for 2 in Melbourne.
Yeah, I guess he is.
He's completely winless. Yeah. It's pretty crazy. Coming out here doing the honors for our guys, which is amazing.
Yeah, that seems to be the direction they're going lately, which I'm not angry about in the slightest bit. I think we spoke about last time how important it is to put over the Australians and not just make the Australians the jobbers for the Americans. So I get it.
The first couple of tours, it was like, look, our guys can hang, right? And so you had Zack Sabre Jr. defeating Jonah Rock. And you had, like, all these guys, like, all our guys were losing on the first few tours, like, over and over again. But it sort of established, like, look how close they can get. And then the last 2 or 3, our guys have been winning, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, yep.
Then we get the triple threat.
That. I was going to say something, yeah.
Then we get the triple threat tag team match, contested under lucha rules, right? So they could slide under the bottom rope and to tag out.
Yeah, I guess. I didn't actually particularly notice that element myself, so
right.
I guess it did.
So they didn't do a good enough job putting it over to the live crowd, but they put it over in the results, because I'm looking at the results on their Facebook, and they're saying it was contested under lucha rules, and this was Natural Classics and Lucha Brothers taking the L against the Flippin' Machines. How was this on?
Yeah, it was great. So I think initially this match may have been set up to be just a straight-up tag between the two internationals, and then the Formulated brothers were sort of thrown in there after how well they did the prior night.
Yeah, which is good. That's good to see. They're absolute stars, those two.
Yeah, I was expecting high things. So I've heard good things about the Philippe brothers. I've been told they're kind of the best thing going in MCW right now. So I had quite high standards going in, thinking these guys are going to wow me. And I hate to say it, but they were a noticeable step behind the other dudes. But I mean, that's not really anything to be ashamed of, considering how good those other guys are.
Well, yeah, I mean, Lucha Brothers are the best tag team in the world, arguably.
Yeah,
So,
I would say the Briscoe brothers myself, but
yeah, that's fair.
That's all right. Yeah,
that's fair. I get that argument. Yeah.
Overall, I thought this match was really fun. Everything it should have been. I guess it makes more sense with the Lucha rules now, because at the time I was like, this referee is in no way enforcing the multiple guys in the ring at a time between tags rule. Yeah. I think all Lucha Brothers matches get that way a little bit,
Yeah, if it's not made clear, it can get kind of confusing. But that's something I loved about PWA was before tag team matches, they always explained to the crowd, like in my early days with PWA anyway, they explained to the crowd like this is Lucha tag rules, like and they explained it before the match would take place, which is always, you want the live crowd to understand it, or else people you get angry at the ref, like why are you not enforcing? Like there hasn't been a tag.
Yeah.
But so this was your first time seeing the Natural Classics. Now, of the Phillips, are you a Tome guy or is Stevie better?
So that was the thing. So the night prior, when they were working the Lucha Brothers, which I thought it's got to be huge pressure for an Australian team to be working arguably the best tag team in the world.
Yeah,
I was like, wow, this has got to be so much riding on this, international bookings, all that kind of stuff. And you could tell they were nervous, kind of thing, that first night. But I felt like they were fitting into their spot a bit more on the next night, maybe a little bit less pressure with all the guys there, a bit less of a spotlight maybe. But yeah, I thought they did great, and I was looking at it, I was like, I think, which is the one that has his hair pulled back? I was getting confused which is which.
Stevie. Stevie has the hair pulled back tighter, yeah.
Yeah, so I was thinking Stevie was the better of.
See, that's the general consensus. People say Stevie's better, but I'm a Tome guy myself.
Oh,
yeah.
Well,
I think he's for such a young dude, he comes across like, at least when you watch them in MCW, he comes across like as more of a ring general. At least like he seems to have grasped like the basics better. If that makes sense, right? Like, this is me as a complete outsider looking at it and just being like, I don't know, I just get that vibe from him, and also his character work. So I'm a Tome guy myself, but I'm in the minority. So that's why I wanted to see from someone this is their first time seeing them. But I guess Stevie's better. There you have it.
I don't know, but yeah, that was my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff Cobb and Brody King, big boy match.
Oh. This is the match I was the most looking forward to of that whole weekend, quite frankly. I love my big boy wrestling. I love my Big Japan. I love my hoss fights. So this was right up my alley, and I'm a big fan of Brody King and Jeff Cobb, especially, gone back quite a ways. So I was looking forward to this, and those matches when it's everything you want it to be. It was exactly what you're expecting, like, no surprises. It's just, this is exactly what it is and what it should be.
Yeah.
And it was fantastic.
It's like, I came in wanting this to be great. This was great. I am satisfied. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We got a little bit of big man lucha there towards the start, and then we just got into a big old, as Dusty would say, a big boy clubbering. And yeah, I loved it, man. It was so good. We had a bit where it was like teased with the ref, where the ref went to do this count out, and the crowd had this really fun kind of thing where he gave him a warning, and the crowd all kind of looked at him and was like, ooh, like a real sassy kind of reaction.
Yeah.
And then, like Brody and Jeff kind of like got in his face, like he was actually gonna, count him out, and then the crowd was like chanting for both of the guys to like chop the ref. And then they like tease that for a bit. I just love the kind of crowd interaction thing where you have a bit of time to muck around a little bit with the crowd in these kind of environments. So I thought that was great.
Yeah.
But then it got towards the final stretch, and we got all of the big stuff, and it's just amazing to see Jeff in person and how strong that guy is. His suplexes on a dude as big as Brody King. My gosh. Yeah, but it was awesome, man.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Brody King. Like I mean, I know it's cliche to be like, oh, he's such a big boy, but the agility is amazing. But it really is. Like when he does the lucha spots on the ropes and stuff, I lose my shit every time. Like I can't not pop for that. Did you take part in Brody King's Chop Shop, as I'm informed it's called?
I heard about this chop shop. No, I went up to him, I shook his hand, I bought a t-shirt, and I got out of there. I didn't want no chop shop.
Okay, all right. So you're insane enough to travel to Melbourne and spend a week there to watch these shows, but you're not insane enough to pay someone to inflict pain on you.
Hey, I took enough chops in my 5 years in the wrestling ring. I don't need to do so when I'm on the other side in the seat of a spectator.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You know what? Did you pay Joey Ryan to touch the penis? That's another thing that happens apparently.
Oh no, I did not. But night one, there was a dude that was I was the most excited I've ever seen anyone to get the Joey Ryan lollipop, and he was like the highlight of the night. He like came from the top of the cheap seat area. He like waved his hands, ran down, and he was waving all about, and everyone was chanting, this guy. Finally gets a lollipop, and it just looked like it made his life. I've never seen someone so excited for Joey Ryan in that way.
That's amazing.
On night two, we did get, so he was working Sid Parker, Joey Ryan, and at the conclusion of the match, you know how you shake hands? My favourite bit was Sid Parker bent down and shook Joey's dick. That was classy.
After the match, I saw that clip on the Instagram story. I did see that. I saw that on the Instagram story. I thought that was hilarious. But the match though, clash of styles to say the least. Like it looks. I mean, it's not the person I would pick to face Joey Ryan, Sid Parker. I mean, Sid Parker can work pretty much anyone, but I don't know. On paper, it looks odd.
Great. I thought it was fantastic because like I wasn't expecting it either. But then like I put Sid Parker up there with the best in Australia, man. Like Sid is one of the most underrated guys, and he hits it out of the ballpark every time. Like whether he's in the opener or whether he's in like a focus match like this.
Yeah.
He needs to be booked in a higher spot because I honestly see him above the talent level of so many guys that are put in the main events.
Man,
on the shows that he's working, he should be in more places. And he again hit it out of the ballpark in this one too, man.
Yeah, I've been saying that about Sid Parker. I've been saying that about Sid Parker forever. Like he's so good. Like I feel like he just gets it, and like every time, like he gets over everywhere he goes as well. But then he just ends up just disappearing. Like he'll show up in a place, he'll get over, he'll put on some, and then gone. And it's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest phenomenon. But moving on. We talked about Indy and Jordan already, so we won't revisit that. But the main event, Marty Scurll.
I did want to put one thing. I almost forgot. I like to bring you the little crowd stuff. The things that you may not get on an every other day report.
Right.
But during the Brody King match, we had an amazing call from the crowd. We just had one guy stand up in like the quiet moment of the match. He just said to Brody King, just in a matter of fact, real clear anecdotal statement. Just, you, sir, look like a chef.
Wait, what?
At Brody King. And it was the best part because it's quite a spot-on statement in a way because there's certain types of chefs in your trendy kind of like your new town, like your bit more hipster kind of suburbs.
Yeah.
You kind of chef that's cooking these kind of hipster burgers, that kind of stuff. He's got some tattoos. He's got a beard. And you look at him, and I was like, I know the exact kind of guy that he is saying that this is the kind of chef that he is. So and the guys behind me were like, just like, that is so spot on. I never would have thought about that before, but
that's the weirdest call. I
wanted to put that over. I thought that was tremendous.
That's the most random thing. Like normally, like I don't know. I feel like in general, when crowd members try to get themselves over like that, I'm not a huge fan, but. That one sounds so unique that I'll allow it. I'll allow it in this case. You look like sir, look like a chef. What? What on earth? All right. But the main event, though, the shock of shock of the weekend to me, the villain Marty Scurll defeats Robbie Eagles to become the World Series Wrestling Champion.
You know what was funny about this? Before this match started, they did a highlight video, like one of those promo things, promoting the next tour. And normally they'll announce like the big international talent or whatever that's going to be the headline of it, like we had with this one with Pentagon Junior. But this one was just all a real hype video about Robbie Eagles and the success, and he's standing up front of the Sydney Opera House with the strap, and it's just kind of like this, Robbie is the man, and he's here to take on the world. And I was like, wow, they're putting Robbie over hard. This promo video should have been shown after this main event, because that just gave away the finish. There's no way that Robbie is dropping the title here, because we know he's going to be champ going into the next tour.
Yeah.
And then, geez, shows what I know.
Yeah.
Right, like, we go, new champ.
Do we think it bodes well for Robbie in that maybe he has some bigger commitments and titles in his near future? Is that the thinking?
We know Robbie is doing great in New Japan. We know Robbie is doing great as like just a big time international talent right now. I'd easily say top Australian wrestler going, full stop. Like, I don't think that's much of a point of contention. But yeah, I would think in my mind this probably means more regular bookings with New Japan.
Yeah.
On more tours, enough to where he perhaps cannot do the next one that World Series Wrestling is going to be putting on over here.
Because I'm just looking at it, and this weekend he's got that IWGP Junior Heavyweight title match, and I'm like, maybe there's some different gold in his future, and I don't know though. I'm just throwing that out there. But how was the match? Though? Marty and Robbie. I think this is the first. Obviously they had the Super Juniors match. This is a rematch for Best of the Super Juniors.
Yeah, and then I was talking to my cousin Ben, who I went with, and we were saying, like, because you watched so many matches during Best of the Super Juniors, and so many great matches, and it was almost like, I know that I watched that, but I don't remember anything about it, and I'm really upset about that, because I bet it was a great match.
Yeah.
So it was kind of good to see, part two of it at this show, but yeah, it was everything you'd want it to be. The story of it was really just getting... Once they got past the early flurry, Marty was just beating the absolute shit out of Robbie. Just slam after slam, suplex after suplex. Robbie took some pretty nasty-looking suplexes onto his head and neck, to where there was like quite a few people sitting next to me. They're like, "Geez, take it easy on him, Marty. He's got a big match coming up next week."
Yeah, right. And then he didn't wrestle in Sydney on Sunday, so I don't know. I don't know what happened there. If maybe he was hurt, or if it's just a precaution. But he was taken off the Sydney show. So, fingers crossed. Hopefully, Robbie's doing all right. But overall, so you attended both nights. So I've already talked to Lyle about night one. But overall, night one and two, highlights, lowlights. What did you think overall?
I saw both of them, and it's good when it works out. At least both of them. The main event was clearly the best match on the show. Like the tag on night one, the tag title match, and then this being the big singles match main event on night two. It was such a good big time singles match, just this main event with Robbie and Marty, and like they just the near falls and like just getting you on certain near falls where like I really thought that was the finish kind of thing, that moment where you're just like, woo, they got me. But yeah, you can't fault it. Overall, I thought there was some great wrestling between the two shows. I guess the low light, I hate to be this guy, but the low lights were probably the women's matches. Yeah. There was some stuff, and this is like nitpicky shit, but like in the Jordan Grace match, she did like 4 or 5 strikes in the corner, and every one she like napped them on her thigh. And it's like, I get napping the occasional strike to like give it added emphasis, but when you do every single one, it really takes the believability out of it. Like, right. I don't know. And that's not something you see in Japanese women's wrestling. And I'm just getting to the point where whenever I see someone slapping their thigh, especially on a repeated basis and so overtly, it cringes me, It just kills me. But yeah, overall, I thought we saw some great wrestling. The International Assault and World Series Wrestling are doing a great thing. And more people need to get out and support it. I mean, we had 2 sold-out nights in a row in Melbourne here. I heard the Sydney show did really well. So, damn, this is great. It's like our version of like one PW back in the day in the UK, or like a Super Indie, and you look at these cards and it's like, these are matches you're not going to get anywhere else with all the various contractual commitments these guys have in the States.
Yeah.
You know, you have guys from ROH, you have guys from Impact Wrestling, you have like, it's like a PWG All-Star show from like a year and a half ago that you'd never see anywhere else. So people need to like sort of appreciate how special that is, I reckon.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think World Series Wrestling do that incredibly well, and it's something that it is very unique in the world. Like even because it's of the like WWE contracts and stuff, and the way the UK situation's sorted out. Even the UK doesn't get shows where there's this much crossover, promotional crossover.
Mm-hmm.
So it's definitely something special and something we should savor. And I know that you know, with indie promotions, they can close at any time. Like it only takes one bad show, or in the case of World Series Wrestling, I guess one bad tour, for everything to crumble. So we got to keep supporting it, and I'm glad that you're doing that, even though it means that you got to fly because they never come for where you are. I wish I could have got the chance to go over this weekend, but I wasn't able to. Next time they're in Melbourne and not here,
glad.
I'll come and watch with you.
Awesome. That'd be good. You know, I'm personally glad that I don't go to Brisbane because those Brisbane fans are terrible people. Just wanted to say that.
That's for another podcast, my friend. That's for another podcast. But if people want to hear you rant in whatever way you want on your own show, where can they find you online? Give those plugs once again.
Yeah, sure thing, my friend. At Grown Men Pod on Twitter. Check it out. New episode coming out this week. Yeah, that should be a fun time. Check out my co-host on Twitter, the King of Memes, at James Vanderbeek. He does a lot of fun stuff. And, of course, myself at Chris Things on the Instagram. Check out that art. And if you see anything you like, send me a message and get yourself a tasty print. Make your apartment or home a classy place. I'll help you out and get that all sorted.
Awesome. I'll have to get you to do a commission one time. But yeah, awesome. Thanks a lot for coming on the show, man. And
Sweet, man.
We'll talk to you probably for the next one.
Thanks for having me, friend.
Sweet.
Bye.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
This month we are sponsored by Grapple, a fantastic new wrestling app available on iOS and Google Play completely for free, where you can rate all the matches that you watch in WWE, Impact Wrestling, New Japan Pro Wrestling, all across the world, and we are even getting Australian wrestling involved in the Grapple app rating system as well, starting with PWA Pro Wrestling Australia. Their Green Label event from the other week is up there. The Black Label event, All Eyes on Troy, is up there. And the last 2 years of events, at least, are up on Grapple right now for you to rate so that people can get around our Aussie wrestling and see that we are just as good as anywhere else in the world. Basically, Grapple is a Rotten Tomatoes for wrestling. Now we all get a say. It is the democratization of match rating systems for pro wrestling. It's amazing. So I get a say, you get a say. You can follow me on there at Greg Unchained. You can follow Big Boy Mikey at B+_Big Boy. At Mr. Mysterious is on there. At Danders is on there. At Jay is on there. We're all on there rating the matches that we watch. So follow us. We'll follow you back. Let's build this community and get as many Australian wrestling fans onto the Grapple app as we can. You can download it right now. It has over 30,000 matches on there going back to 1985, 15 promotions around the world. There's so much to do on the Grapple app. It's a great little community, so get around it. It's Grapple, GRAPPL.co, and it's for free on App Store and Google Play. Get around it. Hey everyone, just want to take a second to tell you about one of our new sponsors, OUTBREAK NUTRITION. OUTBREAK NUTRITION are creating supplements for survival, sharper minds, quicker reflexes, all the energy you need to take your performance to the next level, whether that be on the field, in the gym, on the gaming field. That's right, they have specifically designed gaming supplements as well to help you focus on those late night sessions. They even sell coffee, you guys, at OUTBREAK NUTRITION. You can get coffee pods, you can get coffee beans, you can get supplements for the bedroom as well if you want to enhance your performance there. These are performance enhancing supplements for every aspect of your life, specifically designed by gamers, for gamers, to stay fit and healthy in the gym, to stay sharp and focused on the game, and to dominate in all areas of life. So check out OUTBREAKNutrition.com, and for being a listener of our podcast, they will give you 10% off your order when you enter the code B+. That is BPLUS at checkout. So make sure, if you want to stay on top of your game, if you want to take your performance to the next level, OUTBREAKNutrition.com, enter the code B+ at checkout. Hey guys, just a reminder, if you want to hear all of these wonderful B Plus podcast episodes completely ad-free, make sure you head over to Patreon or Podbean, where we are the featured podcast this week. You can subscribe for as little as $1 a month up to $10 a month, where anything you want to help us with, it really helps out. It's going to help us grow the site. It's going to help us redesign some things, and everything that we get through this and through the advertising as well is all going straight back into the podcast so that we can get Aussie Graps out there for the rest of the world to hear about, for the rest of the world to see, so we can grow this mission of watch global, support local, and build indie wrestling. So if you want to be a part of that and get some really cool rewards like call-in shows, bonus episodes, ad-free like I mentioned, then head over to patreon.com/theb+ and subscribe today. All right, and joining me now to discuss Night 3 all the way from Sydney, our very own Big Boy Mikey. How you doing, Big Boy?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
I am well. I am tired. Got more podcasts to do, so let's nail this fucking thing to the wall and move on. World Series Wrestling. This was our first ever podcast.
Yeah.
You realize that? Like, so that means we've already been doing it for a year, so their dates changed or something. I don't know, because I remember World Series... Or was World Series Wrestling our first public podcast?
No, we had the beta for this. I think our first public podcast was the G1 stuff, wasn't it?
But this was our first, like, public beta, because then we had the Alpha Cast, remember? Before we went beta,
that's right, yeah.
We had the Alpha Cast, and we talked about Dominion, and we talked about, like, a bunch of the best of the Super Juniors, right? And then, but our first one that we actually, you know, it was beta, but then to get people into the beta listener group, we actually did put this one up. I remember that. And so the last year's World Series Wrestling tour, around this time last year, was when we first went like, yeah, this podcast is happening, by the way.
Yeah.
And we got like 4 people listening to it. It was great.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure like I listened to it 4 times, so probably it was just me.
It was just you. I listened to it twice. Why did the statistics only measure 4?
Oh,
this is ridiculous.
Maybe I was 2 then. I don't know. But
yeah, we've come a long way, Big Boy.
Yeah, all right.
And so have World Series Wrestling. How did you feel, by the way, heading into the night, knowing that your boy Robbie wasn't the champion anymore? I was mad. Just going to put that out there.
I love
Marty Skrull, but I was mad.
I was okay with it because Indy had the title. So as long as one Aussie had a title, I was happy. I was like,
no, you are too complacent. The World Series Wrestling officials will listen to this and be like, oh, okay, we're doing the right thing. As long as there's one Australian champion. No, we want all the Australian champions. Bum me out.
No, look, I love Robbie, and of course I'd pay to see Robbie be champion of every company every day of the year. Like, I don't want him to drop any title ever to anyone. But, you know, Marty Skrull, you know, he does a good job with it, obviously. He's class talent, Mr. Marty Skrull.
Well, yeah, it means that the villain is coming back next tour, which is only a good thing.
Exactly. This show actually gave us, I think, guarantee of 3 people coming back, so which is good. So yeah. Actually, four. Give me 4.
4.
Yeah, look, I don't think Marty will come back without Brody.
Alone. Brody. Yeah, Brody would have to come back too. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Villain Enterprises. Hopefully PCO comes as well. That'd be great.
Or
get the whole team on board.
Or the new 4th member, which Meltzer believes that will happen at Best in the World, but we'll see.
Right, it makes sense for that to happen at Best in the World.
Yeah,
which we're going to talk about. No, I almost segued into us talking King of Sports right now. That's for later. First, we got to talk about World Series Wrestling. So Robbie no longer the champion. Do you think potentially, and this is something we could talk about on King of Sports as well, so I'm probably going to get confused again. It is late and I am tired. Do you think that it could be a matter of Robbie has other commitments and other championships that he'll need to be defending in other parts of the world on the horizon? Do you think that may be the issue here?
No, next weekend it played a big part in the Sunday night and Saturday night stuff this weekend. So from the sound of it,
a confusing sentence.
Okay, let me let me unconfuse it for you, Mr. Gregory.
Yeah, unwrap that.
All right.
Yeah.
So from the sound of it, well, it's not sound of it. Robbie did confirm it. He did get a little bit banged up on the match on Saturday night. So whether that was part of the booking as like they needed at least one title match on Sunday night and decided to give the title to Marty to be safe, like to quickly make that decision on the night.
Like, so you're thinking they could have called an audible Saturday night in the ring?
Because from everyone from, I guarantee even Marty knows how serious next weekend would be for Robbie. The rest of the World Series Wrestling roster, or the World Series Wrestling booking team and that, would understand how serious next weekend is. And as much as World Series Wrestling is one or two of the biggest, jobs in Australia at the moment, Robbie obviously had to put that behind on the Sunday. He's wrestled the World Series Wrestling show at Penrith about 6 or 7 times. He had to give up one just so he can concentrate on next Saturday. Like, imagine if he re-banged himself up against someone like a Phoenix. And then next week, went out. So yes, I think the New Japan stuff came into play there, but not in terms of like future wise. But I think Marty Scurll might have.
I'm trying to go real positive with it and be like, he knows he's winning the title next week, so it's better safe than sorry.
Well, I'm gonna save that for the New Japan cast. But
yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, but look, yeah. So that did cause the card to have a full reshuffle.
A full reshuffle. This card looks nothing like what we previewed on the preview show.
No, right? I feel like I'm reviewing a AAA Lucha card. But you know what? Give credit where credit's due. They pulled together.
Surely this was more consistent than a AAA card. Come on, don't throw that at them. Be like
1, 2, 3 matches were rescheduled. So yeah, that's a little bit more consistent.
A little bit more consistent, just a little bit. Yeah. And you didn't have all the crooked referee stuff. And I mean, come on.
Well,
come on. Give them credit where
in the main event, there's a little bit. No, but nothing like that. Yeah. So I mean, look,
take us through the night. Take us through the night. We start off with. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was about to say it gave us with our first match of the night, Ray Phoenix versus Flip Gordon. So Ray Phoenix obviously taken out of that Robbie match. Flip was supposed to be with Cage against the Velocities, but they moved Flip into singles. This was really meant to be Flip with Cage. So
there was no tag title defense.
No tag. But this is a first time ever match. Ray Phoenix and Flip Gordon had never faced each other in all their crossings in CMLL, Ring of Honor, or any of those sort of things. So I mean, as sad it is that Robbie was out for the night, we got a first time ever mega match in Phoenix and Flip, which is pretty fucking cool. This was one of the matches of the night. There's a couple. This is probably the match of the night for me. Tied in with maybe the main event, but this is phenomenal. Like, and had a standing ovation. Like the entire arena was on their feet, applauding. Just doing the flip. Phoenix was hot over. Phoenix is outside of seeing Bandito live in that same arena. Phoenix is fucking insane the way that guy moves.
I heard some of the crowd tried to hijack and turn on Phoenix though, based on the stories about him, which we've talked about on other shows.
Yeah,
about him no showing bookings and that sort of stuff.
That there was a couple of trolls in the crowd, but they were silenced. They were very silenced by the cheers.
So James Chapman wasn't in attendance.
He wasn't.
I love you, Chapper.
Even though the guy that they booked originally that he protested against didn't even end up making it out to Australia. Oh, there's another reshuffle. Unfortunately, we forgot to talk about as well. Swan didn't make it out due to travel and visa issues. Yeah. Look, it would be cool for me to tick off Rich Swan on the list. Like, I've got a list of wrestlers that I've seen. Rich isn't on that yet, and it would have been cool. Like,
do you really want to though? Like,
yeah, I do. I think he's a fucking awesome talent.
He hasn't been cool since he was doing the "Can you handle this" stuff that Melody used to do. My daughter did it better anyway.
I like Swan, not as much as guys like Phoenix and Penta, I guess, but yeah, look, amazing opener.
So then, but the next match though, the next match looks very, very interesting to me because we've talked about. I can't remember if we were talking about this while we've been recording or if it was before, but whatever. Marty Scurll and looking for the 4th member of Villain Enterprises, right? And I suggested, right when they first posted that fucking promo, I retweeted the promo and I was like, at Full Rapscallion, right? Mick Moretti is the man for Villain Enterprises. Mick Moretti would be perfect. On the pre-show, on the preview show that we did, I fantasy booked Mick Moretti sort of, being courted into Villain Enterprises. And here we have Brody King and Mick Moretti teaming up against the Velocities, who, by the way, congratulations to the Velocities heading over to fucking Chikara, King of Trios. Holy shit, did you see that one?
I sure did.
It came out today.
Yep.
So happy.
2 PWA teams again this year, which is fantastic. That's
so far.
Yeah, so far.
So far.
So far.
Right? I'm expecting SMS as well. Putting it out there.
I'm expecting even maybe like Ricky and name blank. Oh my god, this sounds unprofessional. What's the name that went over as well with him?
Jay Sorbet.
Thank you. I can imagine like a team of like Ricky, Sorbet, and maybe I don't know someone else like Jack Jordan, Jack Jordan or something.
What unites them? No, you need something to unite them. See, look, my gateway to SMS is Ricky, right? Ricky's doing the Richard thing now,
yeah,
and so send him over with SMS. Although Tyler Payne, what's going on with Tyler Payne? We're just segueing into PWA talk. This is what we do on the B+. Yeah. The B+ should basically become the P+ for PWA.
You know, I would 100. You know, I would 100% support the P+. No,
the P, you would support the P+, wouldn't you?
I would.
Anyway, no, but congratulations, the Velocities, on being selected for King of Trios, and I'm holding out for SMS or Debauchery. I'd like to see Debauchery.
Yeah, no, Tyler Payne looks like he's moving temporarily or permanently. We're not sure, to Tampa in a couple of weeks. He won't even be there called arms. Tampa is not NXT. Tampa is Evolve, if I got my places correct. So
right.
So whether Matty Rogers went over last year for a month over to Tampa for a couple of weeks stint with Evolve and a couple of the WWN products there. So maybe he put a good word in for someone like a Tyler, and Tyler got a gig for a couple of weeks. Who knows? But they will look for a new third member for SMS, I guess. And then maybe, because Unsocial Jordan's got a good relationship with the Chikara guys.
A third, no. Sorry, go ahead. Continue.
No, Unsocial Jordan's got that good relationship with Chikara, obviously.
Yes.
Basically staying in Philly the whole last 3 months.
That's why I went with SMS. I feel like SMS would be
maybe a third, maybe... Someone turns heel.
And that does it for our Chikara PWA portion.
Yeah. But back to the Velocities and Mickey.
Yeah, the Velocities, that's Brody King and Mick Moretti. Yeah. How did the Mick Moretti thing play out?
So this was brilliant. So it was billed as it was going to be Brody King versus Mick Moretti. That was the original match. The Velocities weren't involved in this match. Technically, they were pulled. They were originally meant to be Velocities versus Brody and Marty, but that got changed with the shake-up. So it turned into being Brody versus Mick Moretti, which is cool. No, sorry, my apologies. It was meant to be Velocities versus Flippin' Cage. Brody was always meant to face Mick Moretti. Anyway, that came out. Then as soon as Mick came out, he got on the mic and said, hey, look, why are we fighting each other? Basically admitting that he was scared shitless. Brody King was Mick Moretti's comedy gold on this night. So his comedy thing was on point. Mick Moretti made the crowd kind of not forget that Robbie wasn't there, but Mick Moretti was the Australian MVP of this night. Like he, in defeat, looked like a fucking star in this show.
Well, look, Mick Moretti does that though.
He does.
Mick Moretti does that. Like he's so good at filling whatever role on the show he is needed to fill. And if his role is, look, go out there and steal the show and make them forget that their favorite's not the champ and not defending and blah, 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 then he's going to do that, man. He's going to steal the show. I feel like he aims to steal the show in any situation, though, to be fair with you. I think they're going to steal the show on New Japan next week. I think the world is going to be shocked by Mick Moretti and Jack Bonza, but that's another story.
Just like his comedic timing in this, just like his facials or like... Anyway, so this led into Mick saying, look, give me a shot. If I win this match for you, if I get the pin for this match, put me in the team, put me in the stable, blah, blah, blah. And they said, like, we sent out a challenge, so the Velocities obviously answered. This was a fun match with Jude and Matt getting the victory over Mick. So Brody walked out on Mick, obviously, towards the end there, and Mick was left sobbing in the ring, saying, "Oh my God, I was so close." But he's like, went to the crowd, he's like, "It's not over." So we'll touch back on that later in the night. But yeah, really fun,
Right?
Really fun match. Velocity's got a big wing over someone like a Brody King, which is fantastic. So yeah, no, it was good stuff. Good stuff.
That's very good. That's very good. So did Brody King actually eat the pin here?
Yeah, Brody King.
Wow.
Brody King ate the pin. Mick obviously accidentally cost him. So yeah, Brody.
Yeah, that's well, I mean, obviously not completely clean, but that's interesting. Now, something that I saw a lot of clips from, specifically one with a piece of paper, Jim Cornette's face. No disqualification. Joey versus Joey. Joey Janela versus Joey Ryan. I know some people that were very upset this didn't happen in Melbourne.
Yeah.
But how did this one go?
This was just fucking perfect. Joey Janela is a superstar. Like, I'm not a big fan of a lot of this stuff. Like, I know this is going to be a horrible thing to say to you because I know you're a big Mark, but I'm not an Orange Cassidy fan. Those sort of things.
Boo!
Yeah, boo me.
Orange Cassidy is a saint. How dare you?
But Joey Janela is just... Joey Ryan is obviously a very, very, very professional human being.
I'm just saying, next to Joey Ryan, Orange Cassidy is the stiffest worker in the business.
Fair enough. But
that's a grower. That's a grower, that one.
Yeah, well, it could be too, couldn't it? But Joey Janela is a fucking superstar, man.
Dude, I'm hearing so much about Joey Janela being the star of the entire weekend. Just every single night, people like the Joey Janela match, everything Joey Janela did.
He's just fantastic. And then that cornet spot. I haven't popped that hard for a piece of paper stuck onto someone's head since Deadpool 1 when they ripped the mask off and Hugh Jackman's head is stapled to his head. Like, it was like that moment. I was like, everyone just pops. The chants were perfect through this match. So Joey's going to kill you, and let's go Joey. Joey sucks, and all this stuff, and their interactions with the fans are just...
I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think of the fact that when you chant for Joey, and so no matter what, you're chanting for both of them.
No, this is fantastic. Lots of chairs, tables, garbage bins, Lego. Joey Janela brought out the Lego and did his the spot for that. What's that famous kid that does all that? The table stuff. He goes through the table. What's that famous kid that rips his shirt off and dives through a table?
Superhuman.
Yes.
Yeah.
Joey Janela did his Superhumans homage.
He did an homage.
Homage.
It's an homage. Yeah.
Pick on
homage. Who says homage?
I don't know.
Such a pleb.
You always pick on me something. I don't know. It's something I say.
Yeah, it's your pronunciation's all over the place, man. What was it last week?
Oh, what, the Liga thing?
No, there was Liga. That's all the time. You always call him Liga. But there was something else. I don't know, man. Your pronunciation's all over the place.
Anyway.
Superhuman. Fuck this shit, right?
Yeah, right. Did his little Lego spot onto the table and all that shit. But no, Joey was just super over. Both Joeys were super over. But Janela was a superstar.
It doesn't surprise me. I don't think it surprises anyone who watches GCW just how great Joey Janela is.
Yeah. So this is obviously the match before intermission.
Yes. Yeah.
Clearly, this is a big cleanup. Took half the
always put the hardcore match before intermission.
Took half the PW Academy to clean the ring and stuff, but no, it was all good. Post intermission, we got. Oh, do you want to take the lead? Sorry.
Yeah. So then you come back. Though from intermission, and you get Jeff Cobb. This is a match I was so excited about. Jeff Cobb and Jack Bonza. How'd it go?
Well, seems like. Oh God, no! I'm sitting here doing this podcast in a Jeff Cobb t-shirt because I brought a t-shirt from him. He won me for the night. Cobb is one of the most amazing wrestlers to watch live. He is. I think Bonza said it perfectly in a tweet the other day. He's half Mark Henry, half Kurt Angle. He is a beast. He is such a talent, man. It's ridiculous. Like, the way he moves for his size is just, like, he's very, very similar to Jonah, for us, I guess. The closest comparison you can see is someone like a Jonah, for Jeff Cobb, in the world.
No, I can see that, I guess,
But-
if you're racist.
I meant in size-wise.
I'm kidding, man.
You're the racist for bringing that up. And then Bonza. Bonza was...
That's a classic racist response, Mikey.
Fair enough.
No, you're the racist.
You're the worst. Anyway, speaking of the worst, Mr. Jack Bonza, he's fantastic.
Oh, you said that.
What?
Speaking of the worst, Jack Bonza is fantastic.
I tried to segue back in. Just didn't work.
That was the opposite of a segue. That was like the least smooth with words, and now I'm losing my words. You know what? Jack Bonza's amazing. Anyway, we agree.
He is amazing, and actually, he was getting some crowd pops at the start, and then he obviously had to turn the healiness up a little bit to get back to getting his boost.
Turn the dickhead up.
Yep. No, this was fantastic. Just Big Boy season was on tap here. Just it was fantastic.
Big Boy season.
Well, I'm a big boy. I'm always in season. But anyway, just the running the ropes, running
year round.
The tackle thing that they do. The big guys, they run the ropes.
Yeah,
and do
the shoulder blocks.
Shoulder blocks.
Yeah. You try. Yeah.
That was just testosterone at its best. I loved it.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, but Jeff Cobb outsizes Jack Bonza substantially.
Oh, a little bit. Not like height wise, they're about the same.
But like beef wise, just pure. I mean, Jack Bonza's a pretty beefy dude.
Yeah.
But like, I know Jeff Cobb he looks like just a slab of fucking bricks.
Yeah.
He's
like is a little Mark Henry, like in size wise, like recent Mark Henry, not extra chocolate Mark Henry, but
whereas Jack Bonza has the triangle, and whereas Jeff Cobb is just boom, here I am, I'm a fucking brick shithouse.
Yes, but to put it into terms of how strong Cobb is, he had Bonza up in a middle, like a corner suplex, like a suplex from the corner, not top rope, but he held it elevated for 10 seconds. Yeah, Bonza elevated for 10 seconds, and just like. I'm like, I haven't seen strength like that since someone like a bulldog it's crazy. He's just phenomenally strong. It's just, I don't know. And
it's impressive.
Yeah.
It's impressive. Yeah.
It's segues into the next segment very well for you.
Right. Impressive, like the champion for World Series Wrestling's women division, who wasn't on this show. Instead, you still had Jordan Grace taking on Jessica Troy.
Yeah.
That bums me out, man. It bums me out. Like, if you're going to put the belt on Indy, have her show up, man. Fly her to Sydney. She's your champion. She's clearly worth the money. You put the fucking title on her. Have her be on the show. Have her interject herself as a have her take the spot of Jordan Grace and defend against Jessica Troy, or have this become a triple threat or something of that nature. I know, it just bums me out. But Jordan Grace and Jessica Troy, how was this one?
This is the one time that I'm going to be critical of World Series Wrestling.
No. In what way?
In what you just talked about. So obviously, I know it's last minute, but obviously with no Robbie having the title, like I said earlier, I'm okay with the idea of Robbie losing the title and making sure one Aussie has the title. Like you said, could have brought Indy up for this, but whatever.
Right, because the tag titles weren't on the line either.
No, so it ended up being a title match in the last match. So, but
of course, yeah.
But like the Velocity picked up a win, so it was cool for the Aussie side of things. Mick looked like an MVP. Bonza looked like an MVP here. Jordan and just Troy, the match itself is what I'm going to be critical about. Jordan is she's phenomenal. She's a female version of Cobb. She's just so fluid. Her strength is just something to behold, like someone like a China or something like that in the past. She has grace and strength, which, no pun intended. But Jessica Troy won probably the highest ranked women's title in this country about a week ago, right? Or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Probably the highest ranked women's title in this country, you'd say.
I think that's safe to say. Yeah.
She was squashed this was a squash match. And like I know it's not PWA, and I know you got to separate it. It's a bit hard when
but Jessica Troy is, she's a star over in Shimmer too.
Exactly.
Like Jessica Troy, a squash match that doesn't sit right.
She wasn't, the destroyer style Jessica Troy. Like Jessica Troy did her part very well in this match. Not taking anything away from her talent, because she's fucking amazing every time. She was amazing on this night. Her character.
So when you say
her character,
did she get much in,
or was it? No, not really. Her character was a little bit more Bailey-esque, a little bit more like happy go. Mm-hmm. Like she wasn't her sort of, switched on Jessica Troy versus Shazza McKenzie look, or Jess Troy versus Millie McKenzie from a couple of months ago. She just came out and looking. You could tell that it was a 2.5 minute match, 3 minute match.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was a short match.
3 minutes.
3 minutes. Half of it was
Okay, look, World Series Wrestling tend to not give the women a lot of time, and they tend to only have one women's match. It's something we've been very critical of on podcasts about them in the past.
Yeah.
But 3 minutes for Jessica Troy and Jordan Grace to do their thing, that's ridiculous. Yeah. That's beyond ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, I wasn't expecting Troy to pick up the victory at all here, but I would expect at least 5 minutes of Troy, who, like I said, is holding probably the biggest women's title in this country right now.
That bums me out.
Yeah,
man.
So that's the only thing critical. The two talents in this match.
I was having a real good night talking to you about this show.
The two talents in this match did what they were booked to do perfectly. They are both professionals.
Yeah, of course.
They did their job. Jessica Troy was phenomenal. Jordan Grace, she had a fun spot. She, body slammed a member of the crowd, and she body slammed some girl that was set up from World Series Wrestling team who had a shirt saying "Body Slam Me" and stuff. Anyway, so there's a little bit of that sort of stuff. A little bit of a
they did the plant thing.
Yeah,
like Solo Darling. Body slamming JXT on Beyond.
Yeah,
Wrestling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So all that stuff.
Same
So yeah, it was that was the only dour point. Nothing taken away from the talent. They were amazing. Just still a sour point, but we can forget all that because Sorry, you go.
bit of a sour point.
Yeah.
Say that again, because just so I have a clear cut.
Yeah. So a bit of a sour point in the night for me, unfortunately. I know.
Yeah, but then the main event, though, World Series Wrestling heavyweight title match, Marty Scurll, Pentagon.
Yeah, this made me all forget everything about the last 5 minutes.
Can't have a bad match with those two,
right? Similar to the Phoenix and Flip. You can't have a bad match, or Joey versus Joey. You can't have a bad match with two of the maybe 50 best wrestlers on the planet right now. Probably top 25 or 30, really. But Marty versus Penta was fantastic. A little bit of shenanigans. It wasn't as phenomenal as a wrestling match as Phoenix versus Flip was. A little bit more shenanigans because, Marty and Penta are a bit more character-driven than the flippy Phoenix and Flip. So this was a bit more character-driven. Had Brody was on ringside with Marty Scurll. Big Dick Nick gets knocked out halfway through the match. Nice. This brings Brody in. Quick little callback, to the Joey match. Referee Nick was fantastic refereeing this match. He was out with gloves before the match had even kicked off. Very, nice. Very smart. His facials and his reactions through the entire match just sold everything. Anyway, back to the main event.
We have to say, we regularly, it's something that gets so overlooked. So I'm really happy you brought that up. Because people don't put over the refs enough. I saw some clips from night 2. The referee in Melbourne did a really good job as well, and we don't put the refs over enough. Yeah. So I'm glad that you brought that up. And Big Dick Nick's amazing. I love that.
Well, he
former guest of the show, people can go back in the archives and listen to him on our Aussie Graps Friday show from a few weeks ago.
Yeah, well, I always said that two of the most important people at PW Black Label for ages were Nick and Diego, because the way that Diego was at commentary table and he sold everything himself, he was like, oh my God, like, those facials were just, and then Nick himself. Nick did every single match on this card. He refs every match. Just
Marathon
man. He was on fire. But yeah, so, he got taken out. This brought Brody into the match to take on Penta, to beat down on Penta, of course, to get a heal up. Then Phoenix came out, even the odds, Phoenix and Brody go to the back. This brings out an opportunity time for Mick Moretti to come back out to try and help Marty retain.
So what you're saying is this was a clusterfuck.
It's a bit of a clusterfuck, but in a good way. Like the five professionals that were in this made it perfect. Like this is the stuff that would be on the main event Ring of Honor TV or something like that. It suits perfectly. It's story driven. I liked it.
Fair.
And yeah, so brings out Mick Moretti. He feels like he's going to go save Marty. Soon he gets in the match. Marty wants to say what happened earlier in the night. Kick Mick Moretti straight in the ball straight away. Penta gets his second win. He's back up. He's fighting Marty. Mick Moretti starts getting back to his feet. Penta makes Mick Moretti put the ref shirt on. So he takes Nick's shirt off, puts it on.
Oh, damn.
And just as he goes to count 3, Penta hits his move. Just as Mick Moretti goes to hit 3, he stops and goes, nah, he's screwed. Penta. And he got knocked out by Penta again, accidentally. Well, not accidentally, but you know what I mean. And this led to Marty getting the right timing to put on the chicken wing and picks up the victory here.
And retains the world heavyweight title.
Retains the heavyweight title. A quick note in this match, though, the trolls in the crowd were out in force early in this match for some reason. They had front row.
The Buick Club.
Fuck
those guys.
I'm calling you out.
Anyone in the Buick Club that listens to this show, please don't. Fuck off.
Yeah, absolutely. They attempted, but Marty and Penta, being the professional they are, they bullied the shit back to them.
Good. Bullying is never okay unless it's to the bully.
Yeah, exactly. Well, they were the bullies first, so bullying is okay when it's back to the bully. No, yeah, they shut them down very quickly. One of the kids was so offended that he actually walked to the back of the arena because I thought he was about to cry at one stage. So
good. That's the thing, man. People like that, the clowns that come in and try to hijack shows and stuff, they're really thin-skinned. Internet trolls too. Yeah. If you can find your internet troll and find their personal page and shoot them a message and give it back to them just as well as they give it to you. Yeah. Like they'll always fold. Like they're weak individuals.
Yeah. Because I think what got them going early in the thing was there was a quick little "we want Robbie" chant at the start when Marty and Penta went to go face off. There was that "we want Robbie" chant, obviously, and of course the Bullet Club are notorious for booing on Mr. Robbie Eagles. For some reason, they've got some vendetta. I believe there's something more behind it, but anyway, someone else behind it. But we're not going to touch on that.
Okay,
I'll tell you that one off air. But
you can't say that, man. You can't. I got to edit that out. You can't say I'll tell you that off air. Don't.
Well, you could have just edited it out. Anyway, but yeah, no, Marty and Penta were just fantastic dealing with these trolls, and like even Marty just looked at Penta and goes, "Penta, you go for it." And Penta's just like, "Fuck you kids," blah blah blah. in his beautiful Latino accent, he's just.
I can hear it. That's amazing.
But amazing. Yeah, look, overall, apart from the women's division thing here, 5 out of 6 banger matches. Fantastic night.
So let's go. Let's do it. Let's go. Highlight, low light, overall feelings.
Low light. I'm going to start with low light. Women's division, Grace Troy. For 2 fantastic talents as they are, could have had a lot more. This could have been the Cobb Bonza of the women's match. It could have been that, but it went to being a squash that just didn't need to happen. But anyway, highlight. I'm gonna give the highlight to Mick Moretti. As Like, there's
just his overall performance.
Just the overall performance of the night. Like for,
MVP, Mick
like
Moretti.
for me, seeing Penta, Cobb, Grace, and Phoenix for the first time. These are 4 brand new first timers for me. Fucking all 4 of them are fantastic to see live.
Right,
but
didn't you see Jordan Grace at the last tour?
No. Well, no, I missed the last one.
Oh, right, you did too. That's right.
Yeah. So unfortunately, I didn't get to catch it last time. But yeah, those 4 are fantastic. But for Mick Moretti, for me to overshun those 4 superstars, like Phoenix and Penta, are about to headline the fucking Fighter Fest next week. They headlined AAA Verano last week in front of 15,000 people in Mexico. Mick Moretti overshadowed everyone in this night. He was on point. Overall feeling was
like a decimal.
Overall feeling 90% perfect. Not 100% perfect card, obviously, with that women's thing. World Series Wrestling did the best with what they had, with things changing. Unfortunately, World Series Wrestling are just cursed. Every single series is just there's something that happens, some injury, or someone doesn't get on their flight, or something. There's always something. They turned it into a card that looks like a PWG card or a, you know what I mean? Like they made it look good, other than the one sour moment. So yeah, overall, I'm going to give it a 9. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 night. 8 out of 10 night.
And that's been the consensus for the entire tour. That it was a pretty fantastic time. So that's pretty good. That does it for World Series Wrestling. International Assault, Zero Fear. Shorten the names, please, Adrian. It's the 3rd time on this podcast I've made that plea. I will continue to make that plea. We don't need the International Assault anymore. We get it. We understand. Internationals come on World Series Wrestling. The world is enough of a clue.
We get it. They're international. They assault us.
They assault us. Yeah. Guest appearance.
It seems as the title is called the World Series Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion. The world is said twice when you introduce.
There's a lot of worlds.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, many worlds. Anyway, that does it for World Series Wrestling, though. Thanks for giving us the skinny on night 3, man. Where can people find you if they want to see all your glorious tweetings and musings about wrestling and all the other weird shit you post about that I disagree with you on everything? Where can people find that?
Wow.
Well, I do, man. You know this. This. We talk all the time. Every time I'll shoot you a message. People need to know this, okay? Because I don't want anyone thinking that just because you and I are co-hosts that we actually endorse each other's views or beliefs. Yeah. This is important to me. It's very late. Well, I'm sorry. I love you, Mikey. I love you. I just disagree with you on everything except wrestling.
Thanks, bitch. You can find me at B+.
Call me a bitch again. Give your plugs. Let's go home. Come on.
You can find me at B+_Big Boy, which I won't change now. No. B+_Big Boy on the Twitters and the Instagrams, where I just post photos of my cat anyway, so that's not really exciting.
You're not going anywhere. B+ is for life. I am at Greg Unchained on Twitter, at the Greg Unchained on Instagram. We collectively are the B+ Wrestle on Twitter because wrestling wouldn't fit. The B+ Wrestling everywhere else. Like, share, subscribe, 5-star review if you like what we do. By the way, Danders is gone now, so you're going to have to do the nude on Patreon. That's going to be your thing. Thank you so much for listening.